Okay, so we left off yesterday. The dog has come into the house and died. The tables for the card game have been put out, and the cards haven't been touched. And now we get to 4:30. So 4:30, the nursery walls glowed. Animals took shape: yellow giraffes, blue lions, pink antelopes, lilac panthers cavorting in crystal substance. The walls were glass. They looked out upon color and fantasy. Hidden films clocked through the well-oiled sprockets, and the walls lived. The nursery floor was woven to resemble a crisp cereal meadow. Over this ran aluminum roaches and iron crickets, and in the hot, still air butterflies of delicate red tissue wavered among the sharp aroma of animal spores. There was the sound like a great matted yellow hive of bees within a dark bellows, the lazy bumble of a purring lion. And there was the patter of antelope feet and the murmur of a fresh jungle rain, like other hoofs falling upon the summer starched grass. Now the walls dissolved into distances of parched weed, mile on mile in warm, endless sky. The animals drew away into thorn breaks and water holes. It was the children's hour. So here in the children's playroom, essentially, if you can imagine, if you've ever watched maybe Star Trek or something like that, you could see uh, you're in like the holodeck. Like their room is glass, and it makes images so clear that it looks like you're not in your room anymore. And instead, you're in like an African safari type place. Pretty incredible stuff, but no one's there to see it. 5 o'clock, the bath filled with clear hot water. 6, 7, 8 o'clock. The dinner dishes manipulated like magic tricks, and in the study a click. In the metal stand opposite the hearth, where a fire now blazed up warmly, a cigar popped out, half an inch of soft gray ash on it, smoking, waiting. 9 o'clock. Beds warmed their hidden circuits, for nights were cool here. 9:05. A voice spoke from the study ceiling. Mrs. McClellan, which poem would you like this evening? So notice, this is the first time we've had the people named. The McClellans are living here, or used to live here, but they're not really a character in our story. The house was silent. The voice said at last, "Since you express no preference, I shall select a poem at random." Quiet music rose to back the voice. Sarah Teasdale, as I recall, your favorite. This poem is important, so make sure you pay attention to this. There will come soft rains, and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it's done. Not one would mind neither bird nor tree if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. Think about the words that's used here. Think about how this poem relates to the story here. And think about what it says about what has happened. The fire burned on the stone hearth, and the cigar fell away into a mound of quiet ash on its tray. The empty chairs faced each other between the silent walls, and the music played. At 10 o'clock, the house began to die. The wind blew. A falling tree bough crashed through the kitchen window. Cleaning solvent, bottled, shattered over the stove. The room was ablaze in an instant. "Fire!" screamed a voice. The house lights flashed. Water pumps shot water from the ceilings, but the solvent spread on the linoleum, licking, eating under the kitchen door, while the voices took up in chorus, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" The house tried to save itself. Doors sprang tightly shut, but the windows were broken by the heat, and the wind blew and sucked upon the fire. The house gave ground as the fire and 10 billion angry sparks moved with flaming ease from room to room and then up the stairs, while scurrying water rats squeaked from the walls, pistoled their water, and ran for more. And the wall sprays let down showers of mechanical rain, but too late. Somewhere, sighing, a pump shrugged to a stop. The quenching rain ceased. The reserve water supply which filled the baths and washed the dishes for many quiet days was gone. The fire crackled up the stairs. It fed upon Picassos and Matisses in the upper halls, like delicacies, baking off the oily flesh, tenderly crisping the canvases into black shavings. So again, note how well off these people are. They've got Picassos in their house, like Picasso, the artist Picasso. Um, so these people's lives have been made pretty incredible, but unfortunately they are gone. Now the fire lay in beds, stood in windows, changed the color of the drapes. Note again how the fire is like a person almost here. And then reinforcements. From attic trapdoors, blind robot faces peered down with faucet mouths gushing green chemical. The fire backed off, as even an elephant must at the sight of a dead snake. Now there were 20 snakes whipping over the floor, killing the fire with clear, cold venom of green froth. But the fire was clever. It had sent flames outside the house, up through the attic to the pumps there. An explosion. The attic brain which directed the pumps was shattered into bronze shrapnel on the beams. The fire rushed back into every closet and felt of the clothes that hung there. The house shuddered, oak bone on bone, its bared skeleton cringing from the heat. Its wire, its nerves revealed as if a surgeon had torn the skin off to let the red veins and capillaries quiver in the scalded air. Help! Help! Fire! Run! Run! Heat snapped mirrors like the first brittle winter ice, and the voices wailed, Fire! Fire! Run! Run! Like a tragic nursery rhyme. A dozen voices, high, low, like children dying in a forest, alone, alone. And the voices fading as the wires popped their sheathing like hot chestnuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voices died. In the nursery, the jungle burned. Blue lions roared, purple giraffes bounded off. The panthers ran in circles, changing color, and 10 million animals running before the fire vanished off toward a distant steaming river. 10 more voices died. In the last instant under the fire avalanche, other choruses, oblivious, could be heard announcing the time, playing music, cutting the lawn by remote control mower, or setting an umbrella frantically out, and in the slamming and opening front door, 1,000 things happening, like a clock shop when each clock strikes the hour insanely, before or after the other, a scene of maniac confusion yet unity. Singing, screaming, a few last cleaning mice darting bravely out to carry the horrid ashes away. And one voice, with sublime disregard for the situation, read poetry aloud all in the fiery study, until all the film spools burned, until all the wires withered and the circuits cracked. The fire burst the house and let it slam flat down, puffing out skirts of spark and smoke. In the kitchen, an instant before the rain of fire and timber, the stove could be seen making breakfast at a psychopathic rate. 10 dozen eggs, 6 loaves of toast, 20 dozen bacon strips, which, eaten by fire, started the stove working again, hysterically hissing. The attic smashing into the kitchen and the parlor into the cellar into subcellar, deep freeze, armchair, film tape, circuits, beds, and all like skeletons thrown in a cluttered mound deep under. Smoke and silence, a great quantity of smoke. Dawn shone faintly in the east. Among the ruins, one wall stood alone. Within the wall, a last voice said, over and over and again, even as the sun rose to shine upon the heap of rubble and steam. Today is August 5, 2026. Today is August 5, 2026. Today is. And that's it. One thing I asked the class to do, and you'll see it in the quiz, is to think about, this is kind of some themes we're going to be looking at. We've seen throughout the story like the wonders of technology and how amazing it helps make these people's lives, we would assume, before they were gone. But we've also seen the destruction, that it can wrought. If you didn't notice with the poem kind of implies that like everything is gone. Like there are no people left. In a lot of ways, this house is the last vestige of humanity. So I wanted you to think a little bit about like, how do you see this playing out for us? Like, what are some things that you think technology will do that are good? Like, what are your hopes for technology in the future? And then what are your fears? What are things that you're worried about when it comes to our ever advancing tech? So that's it. Think about that. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a good day.